These are 5 dishes from one of the oldest food cultures on Earth, a cuisine rooted in the mountains where humanity first learned to farm, and yet most people outside the Kurdish world have never heard of a single one of them. Kurdistan is not a country, it's a region spread across 4 nations: Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. For more than 10,000 years, the people of these highlands have been growing wheat, herding sheep, and building a culinary tradition that sits at the very crossroads of civilization. The Zagros and Taurus mountains, the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, the place historians call the Cradle of Civilization. This territory was once known as the granary of the Middle East. And yet, when people talk about Middle Eastern food, they talk about Lebanese, Turkish, Persian. Kurdish cuisine gets filed under someone else's name, absorbed into someone else's story. Today, we're pulling it out from under that shadow. These are 5 Kurdish foods you've probably never encountered, but absolutely need to try. First up, kubbeh. You might be thinking, wait, I've heard of kubbeh, that Lebanese dish with the bulgur wheat and the lamb. And you're not wrong. Kubbeh exists across the Levant and Mesopotamia, and a Syrian encyclopedia from 1971 cataloged 58 different varieties. But the Kurdish version is its own animal entirely. Kurdish kubbeh are dumplings, and they come in several forms. There are flat spheres plunged into a soup called hamusta, a hearty green broth loaded with spinach, Swiss chard, celery, and enough lemon to make your mouth pucker. There are round red kubbeh dropped into a crimson soup of tomatoes and beets, served over rice. Then there are torpedo-shaped kubbeh packed with beef seasoned with cumin, coriander, allspice, garlic, and paprika, all wrapped in a shell of bulgur wheat. But here's what makes the Kurdish version distinct: pomegranate seeds. They add a sour note and a reddish-brown color to the stew that you won't find in the Lebanese or Syrian versions. In Kurdish, this dish is called turshk. In Arabic, kubbeh hamuth. And in Kurdish kitchens, it can take up to 4 days to prepare. There's a family in Jerusalem, descended from Kurdish Jews who emigrated from Duhok in Iraqi Kurdistan, who still make kubbeh with a short-grain rice shell, a technique passed down through generations. The fried ones are nicknamed kubbeh oznaim, ear kubbeh, a name given by a grandson who thought they looked like little ears. That's how this food travels, not in cookbooks, but in family memory, carried from the mountains of Kurdistan to kitchens around the world. Next, tapsi. If you've ever eaten moussaka, you'll recognize the architecture of this dish. Tapsi is a layered casserole of aubergine, potato, onion, green pepper, and tomato, each vegetable fried separately, then stacked in layers and braised in tomato sauce. That separate frying is the key. Every vegetable holds its own texture, its own character, even as they meld together in the shared sauce. The world tends to file this dish as Iraqi, under the name tepsi baytinajan, but in Kurdish homes from Suleymaniya to the diaspora, it's simply tapsi, a weeknight staple, a vegetarian centerpiece. And in the most authentic versions, it's finished with a sour drizzle of pomegranate molasses, that signature Kurdish touch. You can build tapsi around kofta if you want the meat, or leave it entirely plant-based. Either way, the genius of the dish lives in its method, the patience of frying each layer individually, the restraint of letting every ingredient be itself before asking it to join the whole. Third, parda pilau. This one is special. The name translates to rice behind the curtain, and the curtain is a layer of dough or pastry that wraps around the entire dish, sealing it as it bakes. Inside that golden dome, you'll find spiced rice, meat, nuts, and sometimes vegetables. When the finished dish is turned out onto a plate, you get this stunning golden crust studded with almonds, and when you break through it, fragrant chicken and pine nut rice spills out. The curtain is lifted. Parda pilau is believed to originate from Kirkuk, a city in northern Iraq that has historically served as a crossroads of Kurds, Arabs, Turkmens, Assyrians, and Armenians. What makes this dish truly extraordinary, though, is its symbolism. It's a wedding dish. The dough represents the secrets of the home, kept inside the family. The rice symbolizes fertility. The almonds are the grandchildren to come. No other dish in Kurdish cuisine carries this kind of layered meaning. You're not just eating rice, you're participating in a language of hope and continuity that has been spoken at Kurdish wedding tables for generations. Fourth, shifta. If parda pilau is the wedding dish, shifta is Tuesday night dinner. Ground meat mixed with onion, parsley, egg, flour, spices, and often grated potato, shaped into flat, leaf-like patties, then fried. That's it. That's the dish. And that simplicity is exactly the point. Shifta isn't something you'll find in restaurants, and it's not street food either. It's the food Kurdish mothers and grandmothers make at home. The logic behind it is pure thrift. You take a small amount of meat and stretch it with onion, potato, and bread, and you feed the whole family. It was, and still is, considered a good poor man's dish because it lets everyone eat well when resources are scarce. But shifta matters beyond its ingredients. Because it's humble and portable, it has traveled with the Kurdish diaspora better than almost any other dish. It lives easily in the memory and recreates itself in any kitchen, and it's powerful enough that frying a pan of shifta in a London apartment or a Nashville kitchen can fill the house with the smell of home. Eaten hot from the pan or tucked cold into folded naan with raw onion and a squeeze of lemon, one writer called it the meatball of belonging. It's the food of picnics and packed lunches, of Ramadan tables and weeknight dinners. A cuisine lives and dies by its everyday dishes, and shifta is as everyday as it gets. Fifth, mastau, yogurt, water, salt, maybe some dried mint or dill. That's mastau, and Kurds call it Kurdish beer. It's an affectionate joke that tells you everything you need to know about how central this drink is to Kurdish life. In a culture where alcohol was often absent, mastau was the drink poured for guests, shared at every meal, the thing that refreshed you on a hot summer afternoon. Cold, tangy, and completely simple. The name itself breaks down to mast, meaning yogurt, and aw, meaning water. The traditional method of making it is beautiful. Yogurt is poured into a mashk, a water skin, hung from a wooden frame called a malar, and rocked for an hour or more until the butter separates. The thin liquid left after the butter is removed becomes the drink. So mastau isn't just refreshment, it's the natural byproduct of churning butter, the reward at the end of the work. Similar drinks exist across the region: ayran in Turkey, dog in Iran, tan in Armenia. Nobody's claiming Kurds invented the idea of mixing yogurt with water. But mastau carries its own Kurdish names, its own Kurdish rituals, and its own quiet significance as a reminder that an entire pastoral way of life can live inside a single glass. And that might be the most important thing about all 5 of these dishes. Kurdish food survives suppression, displacement, and exile because food cannot be confiscated. You can redraw borders, you can deny a people their own nation, but you cannot take away the memory of how your grandmother's kubbeh tasted, or the smell of shifta frying in a pan, or the cold shock of mastau on a hot day. As the American writer Marilyn Gardner, who lived in Kurdistan, put it, "Food, there is friendship, nourishment, and hospitality, and these things sustain us longer and more deeply than mere calories." 20,000 Kurds live in Nashville alone. Kurdish restaurants are opening in London, Toronto, and Birmingham. And in every one of those kitchens, 10,000 years of mountain cuisine is still alive, still evolving, still feeding the people who carry it forward.